Hi, Marilyn here with Cotton and Chocolate, and we're here to make our Dowager block on page 9. This is June for Saturday Sampler, and the block is right over here. And of course, your page 9 instructions, and this is where it is in your information sheet, and you should have that out so when you're piecing, you know that it's going correctly. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is making our 3-color flying geese, meaning that we're making it in the traditional method. So you're going to be gathering for flying geese A fabrics 1, 5, and 11 with the 11 as the base. And then flying geese B, you're going to be gathering 1, 3, and 11 with 11 as the base. I'm going to get this out of the way. So I have them laid out for you. So here's the 11 base. And the important thing to remember is fabric 1 is on opposite sides of the flying geese. And then here is fabric 5, and then here's fabric 11. No, fabric 3. Okay, so it's important that you get these correct because so that the layout looks correct. Okay, so when you're starting, we've done this before, but you'll start with one of the sides. They will line up on the bottom, and then you'll sew that so that you can start with the right or left. I just start with the left, and then I'll flip it this way and sew it, press it towards the triangle that you just added, same way. And then once you have that added, you would put this side on, and then I would sew that from this side, sew it on, and then flip it out. Okay, and then I would use my Deb Tucker ruler, flying geese ruler, to cut it down to the 2.5 by 4.5. Okay, so this is the setup. We've done these before, so this isn't something new, but this is how they look in the end. Okay, and then you're going to put these with the points together. I know, a little bit different. So you're going to match these up, and then I do use a positioning pin straight across to match those points up before I sew them together, and then sew across here and open them up. Okay, now they're not telling you about pressing, but in this case I would actually press it open because you just have a lot going on in the center. Now when you are pressing open, I do take a smaller stitch length, just because when you're pressing that open, it stresses that seam a little bit. So I would sew this at like a 2.0 length, or even a little bit smaller if you want to, okay, to press that open. All right, so there's that. Now, the next thing is our log cabin corners. So here's our piece here, which is our fabrics 5, 8, and 1. Our center is 1. And then here's our fabric 8, here and here. And then here's our fabric 5 on here and here. So we've done this before, pretty simple. I press out to the rectangle that I'm adding, and out and out. And then here we go. And that's what it looks like. And they should finish at 4.5 inches square. These are going to go in the corners. So you can see that they're going in the outside corners here. Okay. That should be 4.5. That should be 4.5. And then the very last thing that we're making is our square in a square that we've made many times already. So we're taking our 3 3/8 inch fabric 8 square, and then we're adding our fabric 3 triangles to the outside, squaring it up to 4.5. So when you're adding these onto it, of course you're adding these with that seam that's going to match up to these corners here all the way around. So you'll have that little seam that you'll be watching that point there. So when I'm sewing it with this side here, so I'm watching, pinning that intersection there to that, and making sure that that matches up. And you see that right here, so you want that to be matching that right in there. Okay, so that's the layout for this. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy block to make. We've done all of these things before, so you should be good. You know that they finish at 12.5 inch raw, 12-inch finished. Okay, so there's our Dowager block, and now we'll be moving to the next block. We'll see you there.